It can feel like bleakness, swathing around you, pervasive and suffocating, pressing against your chest like a weight you didn't ask to carry. Alone isn't just about the absence of people. It's a hollow space where joy seemingly dissolves into the quiet, leaving you with nothing but the gravity of your own thoughts. It is lying in bed at night and hearing nothing but the sound of your own breathing, wondering if anyone else even knows you exist in this moment. Alone is sitting at a crowded table and realizing conversations flow around you, but never to you. It is knowing that if you disappeared tomorrow, no one would notice until your absence became inconvenient. Alone is a holiday spent staring out the window while lights twinkle in someone else's home. It is blowing out the candles on a birthday cake you bought yourself. It is holding the frustrations of your day like a storm cloud, with no one to help clear the air, no one to offer comfort through all of the gloom. It is seeing the phone light up with notifications, but knowing they are just automated reminders or meaningless updates. It is scrolling through social media feeds full of connections that are disappointing alternatives to the real thing. There are different kinds of alone. There's the physical solitude, with no one to share your space. There is being emotionally isolated, carrying the weight of feelings which tend to build, leaving them just too heavy to share. Or worse, trying to share and finding no one willing to listen. There is being mentally distant, lost in thoughts that others can't follow. Your mind is a labyrinth where you wander without a guide. And then there's the most painful of all, the loneliness of feeling unknown, unseen, misunderstood. It is the ache of realizing no one truly gets you, and maybe no one ever will. But being alone is not the end of this story. It is not a life sentence, nor is it the defining feature of your existence. Because in this vast, wide world, there are countless others who feel just as you do. Right now, in this very moment, someone is staring out at the same moon, wondering if anyone else feels the ache they do. You are not as isolated as you think. Your loneliness is not a void. It's a thread waiting to be woven into the fabric of something greater. Alone is a state of being, not a definition of who you are. It's a space, a pause, a moment, sometimes painful, but also filled with potential. You were brought into this world in this one way, and you will leave it just the same. But the time in between is not a solitary journey, unless you allow it to be. Even in solitude, there is something more, a connection beyond the physical, an invisible force that unites us in ways that transcend what we can see or touch. What you believe will shape how you see this or not. I believe that even in the deepest, darkest moments of being alone, I am truly not. There is a spiritual presence, a higher power, that walks with me in silence. This presence doesn't fill the room with laughter or wrap me in physical embrace, but it offers a different kind of companionship, one that is steady, quiet, and eternal. And this time of being alone, this season, however long it may last, is not without purpose. Solitude can be a mirror, reflecting the hidden parts of ourselves that often go unnoticed in the noise of others. It can be a forge where the fires of loneliness refine us into something stronger, something truer. It can also be a garden, a quiet space where the seeds of self-discovery take root, nurtured until they bloom into something extraordinary. When you are on your own, you have the chance to meet yourself in ways that are impossible when surrounded by others. It's an opportunity to sit with your own thoughts, to explore the uncharted corners of your mind without fear or judgment. In this stillness, you can discover the passions that awaken something deep within you, and not for anyone else's approval, but because they bring you joy and meaning. In solitude, you can move to your own rhythm, find your own true voice, and craft a story that is authentically and entirely your own. Imagine a monk who has committed his life to solitude in the pursuit of enlightenment. Days stretch into years, marked by long hours of meditation, stillness, and intentional quiet. In this sacred isolation, they seek something greater, a profound understanding, a deeper peace that transcends the clamor of the world. Their solitude is not a void, but a vessel, filled with the potential for transformation. In the poem titled "Roll the Dice" by Charles Bukowski, he writes, "Isolation is the gift." To embrace isolation, the quiet and the stillness, is to open a door to a level of introspection that few dare to explore. It is in this space, away from the distractions of life, that the mind and soul find the clarity to unearth the truth buried beneath the surface. Isolation, far from being a burden, becomes a path to an evolved sense of self. And though it may not feel like it, being alone is also a gift to others. The work you do in solitude, the self-reflection, the healing, the growth, shapes you into a more grounded and compassionate version of yourself. You become someone who can truly listen, someone who meets others with grace, and someone who can hold space for their struggles without being consumed by your own. The time spent this way can make you a better companion, a better friend, a better human. There is a quiet power in learning to be alone, a power born from the reflection, growth, and connection you discover in solitude. It is the power of knowing that your worth is not defined by who surrounds you. It is the strength of standing on your own, not because you have to, but because you can. It is the wisdom of realizing that connection is not something to chase, but something to nurture, first within yourself, and then with others. So, when you are feeling alone, remember this: alone is not a curse. It is not a failure. It is not forever. Or at least, it doesn't have to be. Alone is a chapter in your story, not the whole book. It is a moment of opportunity, an opportunity for enlightenment, an invitation to look inward, to find the light within you that no one else can extinguish. Your journey through aloneness, confounded with loneliness, is like tending that garden, cultivating strength, wisdom, and compassion that will bloom in the lives of others. What you discover in solitude doesn't just transform you, it becomes a light that can guide others through their own darkness. There are people out there waiting for someone like you to remind them you are not truly alone. And when you are ready, when you've learned to befriend your solitude, to make peace with the quiet, you'll find that the world is still there, waiting for you. So be patient. Take this time for yourself. Use it constructively. And when you are ready, step back into the world, not as someone burdened by solitude, but as someone who has turned it into the foundation for their strength.